So, as I've talked about before, when you have sites like Luma and Kling and now Pika and Halo U and even Runaway and so on, and even the right and those are image, those are like text to image, text to video, image to video, or video to video sites. When you have those, along with writing sites like, let's say, Novell AI and mostly to do right, you look at them and you wonder, okay, what is the purpose? We understand what the purpose is. Kind of create something for you to kind of help you out or give you an idea of what something would look like if it was brought to visual life. But like, what is their true purpose? Outside of being stuff that we already know Hollywood and studios in that outlet are utilizing at times. Well, I think the purpose, is for existing is not for Hollywood itself, but for creative, for people like me and you, those that have creative, imaginative mindsets that want to basically, just for funsies at times, see our projects be brought to life, see our stories be brought to life. And sometimes if it's just a description, that we put in the prompt, it's always kind of interesting to see the result we're going to get. Or if it's an image that we will give a description to, it's always, again, nice to see what that image will turn out to be if it's brought to life. Or if it's an image with a description, you put that description in the prompt, and it's always nice to see whether or not, the result will follow what you see in the description, or what you have in the description that you put in the prompt. But to me, that's why we have these sites. Yes, are they, very, I guess you could say, costly at times? It all depends on, what you go for. Whether or not you go for a yearly subscription, which basically means you only have to pay one price a year, but sometimes that'll come at a cost that you're not expecting. Or if it's a monthly one, which is a more appropriate one, because if you can't, let's say, cash in, your subscription for that month, then you don't get what you are subscribed to. At least it holds you back, and it helps you save on a little bit of money, depending. Either way works. But the reason, again, they're here, in my opinion, is to kind of help us out, in a way that normally we probably wouldn't be able to see become a reality. Because let's be honest, there's a lot of us out there that are inspiring to be part of Hollywood itself, to be part of those studios, to share our creative and imaginative ideas for stories and productions and all that. But we also know that what we want to bring to, to the big screen or the small screen, is, kind of very far and very few in between. Like, it's like, basically finding a very small, tiny, itsy-bitsy needle in a huge, gigantic, enormous haystack. That's how the likelihood is. Let's be real. But when we get down to it, the reality about these AI sites is it helps us out in that area. I mean, there are those that I'm, following here on, Patreon and DeviantArt that I've mentioned before, like Trouble TRO, Jovin16, Laboratory, and so on, that will utilize these kind of sites just to see what their creations will look like being brought to life. Trouble TRO does this at times just to see what images or scenes from his Pink Benefits series or his Science Experiment series and so on will look like if it was brought to animated life. And that's a good thing. And it's also kind of like inspiring him to potentially pursue the idea once things get corrected, along with the help of other software he may have access to. It's inspiring him to, go along with the idea of doing a mini movie based on, let's say, Pink Benefits, based on anything you want, based on Science Experiment, and so on. The same with Jovin16. Jovin16 has stories like Nanoshift and Brianna's Secret Life and so on. And same with Nexy Comics. Nexy Comics, which is Nexy, Nexy Comics, which is, and basically sexy, but it's an N instead of an S. Basically, Nexy Comics could do that as well. Heck, I've downloaded some of their images from Unconventional 2 with Demonica and these two girls, Demonica being Mr. Internet Man's character he collabed with to bring into the story. You know, and there's a moment where these two girls get possessed by Demonica. She turns them into two different girls, and the end result during the intimacy on the bed is they end up melting together and fusing together into one. It melts into a big black liquid blob, oily blob, that basically reforms itself into a fused version of all of them. So I was able to use that through Luma and Kling mostly, and it looks great. Kling actually does it a little bit better than Luma to just an itty-bitty extent. But, you know, you have people like them that will look at this kind of stuff and utilize it to bring their ideas to life, to see what it looked like if they were brought to life, and maybe inspire them to take that next step. And, you know, it's not, you know, I guess you could say a complicated thing to figure out, and, you know, in the long run. But, you know, to me, that's why these services are here. You know, they're not here to take over people's jobs and all that. You know, no matter what fear-mongering is out there, these things are here to help inspire the creative juices of others. Yes, you know, do they have hiccups? You know, from what I've said before, absolutely. I mean, I'm on To-Do right now, and there have been times where I'll describe what I want, and instead of giving me what I'm asking for in story, instead it will give me something completely different. Like it'll give me somebody else's project, and I don't know why it would do that. The other thing that it does have is as an outline, a story Bible that allows you to kind of see what your stories that you've done previously before going to Do Right would look like if they were divided into sections, like like genres and who the characters are and stuff like that. And it's interesting to see how they would describe, those characters in, let's say, the descriptions of the outline. So that's kind of cool. Kling. Now, when it comes to, like I said, video and image, Kling and Luma and Pika and Hailu and the others and Runaway that I've mentioned, they're good at what they do, but they still have a lot to build upon and then improve on. Kling and Luma, to me, are like at the top right now as being the ones that when you look at them, you're like, okay, these can do what I'm asking them to do, but what can be improved to make them give me exactly what I'm asking? And that's the one issue, not just with them, but with Hailu and Pika and Runaway. It's like, what can they do to improve? With Hailu, they got the apply for API on there. They got the subscriptions going. The only issue that they need to, in my opinion, improve on is extensions. They need to put the extensions in there for the fans. They need to do that. And they need to do it just like Kling does. Kling basically gives you an unlimited amount of extensions. Luma, to an extent, gives you unlimited amount until you get to a certain part of, the image that you're turning into a video or the prompt you're turning into a video. It's until you get to a certain part that it says can't do it. It's failed. And that's their way of saying, yeah, if we go any further, this is going to cross some lines. So Luma even has its limitations, but not entirely. Runaway has their limitations. They need to get rid of that, and so does Pika. I thought Pika wouldn't, but they do. So there are a lot of things that need to be improved on. And the more they improve on them, the better things will be. For example, they need to loosen limitations on what you can, I guess you could say, what you can have, visually, image-wise, put on to, made into a video. They need to lessen those limitations and be like, look, this is, this is a site, this is a service for all. Let's just, let them have a little leeway and see what happens. So that's what some of them they need to do. They need to lessen those limitations and go and just let people go and have fun, not limit them to what they can and cannot have brought to life, in my opinion. But to me, at the end of the day, these AI sites are here to help, content creators and inspiring artists and all that to take that next step. Take that next step to potentially doing something that they know Hollywood may shoot them down for, but will help them maybe get to that level that a VisiPop or a Stout Productions or a Team Season is at right now, and basically bring their creations to life independently and share them with the world, as weird or nonsensical or as crazy or as NFSW and all that they might be. Give them the opportunity to do all that at the end of the day. But that's why these sites are here. And yes, they still have a lot to improve on, a lot of kinks they need to work out. But I don't think they're here to, ruin anything. I don't think they're here to take over anything. They're here to help, and they're here to help people like me and you potentially take that next step to where, like I said, people like VisiPop, Stout Productions, Team Seasons, others are at right now with us, with their creations, that they share on places like Rumble, YouTube, Newgrounds, you name it. But let me know what your thoughts are, guys, down below. Comment on how you feel about all this. Do you agree with anything I said here about these services? And do you yourself use some of these services as well? And do you notice some of those kinks and everything that need to be worked on in the future to fully improve on what these sites can truly do for us as fans and content creators? And which one do you prefer more so than the others? And which one do you think has a potential future as being probably the top tier one? But let me know, and until then, guys, I'll talk to y'all later.